planning on taking the IELTS academic? Or you've taken it before and you've lost out, and you actually took it again, and yet the bad scores are dragging you back, and the dream of moving abroad to study becomes very bleak. There's an alternative to this. I'll be right back. Hi, welcome to the Telegonzola Principles. I actually want to talk about a scenario that has been popping up for the students that have been writing the IELTS academic. And remember, this particular model for students that intend to study abroad, probably in Canada, in the UK, or Australia. So if you're taking the academic IELTS model version and you've been writing these over and over without success, probably as a result of not making up a particular section, it could be the writing or the reading section, which seems to be a little bit more denser compared to the general training, there could be an alternative. And this alternative is what most people do not really have a good noting on. That is what we call TOEFL. Okay, so what is TOEFL? TOEFL is a parametric test that has been organized by ETS, which simply means Educational Testing Service. They organize tests like GRE2. So for TOEFL, which is Test of English as a Foreign Language, it can also be used in placement of the IELTS academic. So if you're asked to report a score in order to get admission into a university in the UK, Australia, and Canada, please kindly at this moment make an inquiry to know if you have TOEFL as an alternative to IELTS academic. If TOEFL is an alternative, obviously you have a very strong shot at getting a particular test score to help you with your admission process. Let's quickly look at the basic comparison between TOEFL and IELTS. Similarities. TOEFL has 4 sections, which are the listening, reading, speaking, and writing. IELTS also has the same 4 sections. Believe me, they do, and that is the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So it shows that both TOEFL and IELTS has similar sections. Another similarity between these two tests is that you basically will be taking this test in order to show English language proficiency. So whether you're a native speaker or non-native speaker that does not really have a connection to show that you have a stronger communicative ability and you're asked to write a proficiency test, you might be asked to write either a TOEFL or an IELTS. So they are both used for the same purpose, academics, okay? Now, if you're trying to get admission to any university in the countries I've mentioned earlier and there, you might be asked to write either a TOEFL or an IELTS. A lot of students believe that TOEFL is more difficult than the IELTS. Others are of the opinion that the IELTS is a little bit more stricter and difficult than TOEFL. The truth is, they are both tests and they test the English language, and they have their peculiarities and also their areas of strength and weaknesses. Let's make a little bit of comparison also, like I started off earlier on there. In the listening section of TOEFL, you actually will be answering 40 questions, which similarly implies also in their IELTS 40 questions. But in some cases, you get a test type whereby you answer either more or less than 40 questions in TOEFL, but for IELTS, it remains 40 questions. The question type you have for both TOEFL and IELTS in the listening section are so similar, except for the diagram and direction questions you have in IELTS that is not really obtainable in TOEFL. But for every other question type you have, it's what's applicable for TOEFL is also applicable for IELTS. In addition to that, the speaking section of TOEFL is quite different from that of the IELTS in one particular manner. In TOEFL, you speak to a computer, which simply means that you have an head jerk on and you speak as the computer gives you the interface. Everything you say will be recorded by the computer and sent to the ETS scoring network where your responses will be evaluated. But for the IELTS, you speak to a human being. The human being regulates and assesses your responses and gives you a response score band. Another key area to measure in the speaking section is that in TOEFL, you have close about 20 minutes to round off your speaking section. But for IELTS, you have a minimum of 11, maximum of 15 minutes for your speaking section. Aside that, every other thing they measure in their IELTS for the speaking is close similarly to what you have for TOEFL. In the reading section, IELTS asks questions that come with a variety of needs and demands. So do TOEFL, but the dense nature of the passages could quite be different. While TOEFL might not really have a longer version or denser version of passages, the chronological nature of ideas and points is a little bit more organized than you have for IELTS. IELTS uses a lot of alternating method of placing information, which simply means that if a question type changes, for instance, a true/false to a matching hex, the way you read the passage also gets modified. But for TOEFL, regardless of the question types you're taking, you really have a sequence or a chronological approach to the questions. And don't forget, whether you're taking the reading passage for TOEFL or the reading passage for IELTS, you're actually being faced with academic topics. So you need not bother about what type or category of passages you actually be reading. One big difference here is that for TOEFL, you'll be reading the passage on the computer, meaning that all the interface you have there will be done on the computer and they are all multiple choice questions. But for IELTS, you'll be reading on paper or on the computer, so you have a choice on that. You look at the writing section. In TOEFL, you have 2 tasks to write, similarly in the IELTS. In TOEFL, you'll be asked to write an essay and also report by creating what we call an integrated reasoning. This implies that you require 2 skills or more than 2 skills to answer a question. While you're reading, you have to listen to something and also write about what you've listened to and also read. These might not be applicable in the IELTS writing section, which is task 1. Where you might be asked to look at a diagram, a chart, a pictograph, or process diagram. Here you report based on the information or data presented before you. The slight difference you have here simply implies that for TOEFL, you're doing more of integrated reasoning, whereby you have to listen to a particular short lecture, you read a passage in connection to the same lecture you've listened to, and you write based on how the information interfaces. Unlike that, in the IELTS, you're actually paying attention to just key data analysis and you respond to that. So you're very good at data analysis. I would say stick to the IELTS. In general, we just looked at the various areas or sections of TOEFL and IELTS. If you've taken the IELTS severally and you've not really done well, I would encourage you to also try out TOEFL. Whatever requirement you have for the IELTS will also be obtainable in TOEFL. But one key difference in getting the requirement is the score band. For TOEFL, the score band ranges from 0 to 120, meaning you can score above a 120 in TOEFL. For IELTS, the score band ranges from 0 to 9, meaning you can go above a 9. So if you're requested to give at least a score band of 6.5 on your IELTS for academics, and you're also asked on the TOEFL to present a score band of about 75 or probably 70, then you almost have the same rate band score, which implies that a TOEFL can be a good shot for you to really get a good port for your proficiency of the English language. So, whether you take the TOEFL or you take the IELTS, the ratings are the same. No test is better than the other. So if you've taken the IELTS severally on the academic version and you've not really done well, I will encourage you to write the TOEFL. TOEFL registration is very easy, which can be done online on any day. And TOEFL can be taken on any day of the week, which could be done in any month. Another advantage you have on a TOEFL is that registration fee for TOEFL could go within the space of 55,000 to 65,000 for the registration. For IELTS, we all know the IDP charges 73,000 naira and British Council goes for 75,000 naira. So with TOEFL, you still have some couple of thousands in your pocket. In addition to that, both TOEFL and IELTS both come with the same period of waiting for your score report sheet. In this case here, once you write the TOEFL, you have to wait for at least 2 weeks, and IELTS also work within that same frame time for a report of your response to the questions which you've taken on the test day. Now you have it. So if you really want to take a good shot at getting a proficiency to prove that you can communicate in these countries, like UK, Australia, or Canada, I would suggest that you either seek for TOEFL or IELTS. But if you've taken the IELTS severally and you've not really done well, give TOEFL a chance, or probably a very good shot. Now, TOEFL basically could be taken more in the US because it's a very popular test there. Doesn't mean it can be taken in some other universities outside the US. So before you take the TOEFL, I will encourage you to make inquiries and make your findings very clear that TOEFL is acceptable in the institution and country where you intend to go to or migrate to. Now you have this information at your fingertips. Take that step now. Don't get demoralized with poor band scores on the IELTS. Get alternative, act on it, and live your dream. This is the Consular Principles. My name remains SOP Maxwell. If this video was informative and educative to you, why not go below this video and subscribe now so you get more informative and educative material to enhance your academic pursuits. Hope to hear from you soon. Drop a comment and I'll get back to you. Bye for now.